Senate passing a bill to fund the federal government through January. The measure will now need to pass in the House and then head to President Trump for his signature to end the 42-day shutdown. We'll probably be talking about 43 and maybe 44. I don't know. Joining us now, Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas. He's chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee. He will honor Veterans Day by ringing the opening bell here at the NASDAQ later this morning. Welcome. And hence, here you are joining us on set, Senator.
I'm delighted to be here. We have a purpose in being here in addition to visiting with the three of you, and that is to honor Americans, veterans, on this Veterans Day. And the NASDAQ is celebrating with us to make certain that veterans know they are appreciated and thanked. And part of my job is to make certain that that veterans are more than just thanked and express gratitude and respect, that we do our job in the nation's capital, in the committee, and in the Congress to make certain that the things that were promised to those who serve are the things that they receive.
Great. That's a good message, Senator. We were talking earlier, going to the news of the day, that Speaker Johnson has not guaranteed that there hasn't referenced a vote. I mean, that's happening in the next day or so, is it not?
Everything I know about the House, and I was a House member before I was in the Senate, is that people are being called back, expected to be there on Wednesday.
Okay.
The House rules, the Republican rules require that there be 48 hours that people can read the bill before they vote. It's part of this reform and often demanded by the conservative groups in the House. But the reality is that text has been out there for days. And so it's surely, and the consequences of this shutdown, I mean, I don't mean to personalize this, but I'm an example of how difficult it is to travel, just coming to be with you and trying to get home to Kansas today. This is, I mean, in addition to all the things that are mostly making the news about certainly SNAP, food programs, Head Start programs, all those things are important. And this, in my view, is we should never have shut down. I've been through this before. I've never seen a shutdown that has good results, that you get something that is worth the pain that you're putting the American people through. It's a mistake, and we need the House to act as quickly as they can, get this country going. And so I think something that's forgotten about this that maybe this show would appreciate is our standing in the world is harmed by the chaos that we demonstrate. Our inability to govern, our inability to work together shows to our adversaries that we have some vulnerabilities, and it shows to our allies we're not that dependable because we can't get our own act together. This is on this Veterans Day, this is the United States of America, and we ought to be able to do the things that cities and counties and school boards do every year: pass a budget, appropriate the money, and do our jobs.
Right. Well,
agree.
There are certain factions that don't really want the United States to succeed. We won't mention any names. So I saw Senator Kennedy, who's just a kick. I saw him on yesterday on a competing network. He says that Republicans haven't done anything since the big, beautiful bill. He wants another reconciliation bill to do some of the stuff that was left out of the first one. And because you're never going to get a Democrat vote on anything, you only need 51 for a reconciliation. So do some more spending cuts, I don't know what else you might do. Maybe you could look at something about Obamacare to try to rein in the rampant price inflation that you're seeing on all the plans.
So Senator Kennedy is a kick and enjoyable to listen to, and really, really intelligent and smart. Reconciliation is a narrow opportunity created in the rules that allow 51 senators to do something that they can't otherwise do, to overcome the filibuster.
You're allowed to do 2 more, he said.
And we can. The rules allow us to do this again. It is a painful and difficult process, and the rules make it very difficult to do more than a narrow set of things. But there is certainly talk about that being another opportunity for the Republicans to increase the things that we think are to get done.
Short of getting rid of the filibuster and just making it, I don't know. I don't know what that would do. I don't know what the president would try to do if left completely no guard. I can't imagine. Of course, same with Democrats. I don't know I don't want to see what happens if either party gets rid of the filibuster.
I'm with you. I'm a supporter. I don't know. That sounds odd to support a filibuster, but it is something that I think is important, not just to the institution of the Senate, but but important to the country. And I consider myself generally a member of the minority, whether the Republicans have the majority or the Democrats have the majority, because I represent a rural state in which our issues are different than the vast majority of the nation.
Yeah.
My ability to influence the direction that the country goes is enhanced on behalf of Kansans when we have the opportunity to require.
Manchin and Sinema are both gone. So what happens what are the prospects for the Democrats retaking the Senate anytime soon?
It seems to me that the House is more vulnerable for that to happen. The Republicans in the House are more vulnerable than the Senate. But Republicans in the Senate ought to be paying strong attention to the American people, because I think there's a strong sense of dissatisfaction with the way things are.
Then you would agree to a vote in December as promised, if you were the House, on the extension of the pandemic era Affordable Care Act subsidies.
I think there's political consequences to ignoring the importance of this health care issue. How you do that matters, and the way it was done.
So would you vote yes to extend it for a year?
I would work to change it from what it is today to work better and be something that is more valuable to the individual consumer, to the person who has the health care needs, than what it is today.
What's that look like?
Which is really about paying insurance.
So that's health savings accounts or something?
That is certainly something that we've long supported and believe that people need more control over their health care decisions. But to suggest that health care can be ignored politically or just as a practical caring for people can't be done.
So the prospects for a bloodbath in 2026 in the House, people said 12 months in Trump world is, you have no idea what it's going to be 12 months from the...
But the news changes every day. I think there are issues that, again, are driving people to worry about their future. They are economic, and they're feeling the pain. There's lots of things going on. You mentioned healthcare, but the business community. Farmers in Kansas and trade with China and others is a hugely important issue. It's how we earn a living. Air capital of the world, Kansas. We manufacture. Tariffs and steel and aluminum. The supply chain puts people to work, and those things, everybody is, and even the air traffic. That plane that crashed with a helicopter on January the 29th originated from Wichita, Kansas. In addition to all the things that the shutdown has created, is we've not been able to further Secretary Duffy's plan to make air travel safer. All those things, uncertainty, people don't like. I don't like uncertainty. I want to know what tomorrow looks like. Hard to do in this world. But if the politicians, the elected officials, don't deal with these economic certainty issues, voters will have a strong voice.
Senator, the outrage towards Chuck Schumer from the progressive wing of his party has some people wondering if politics of old, of the last 30 years or so, where you might see people working around across the aisles, is a thing of the past. Is it tougher to be able to work with anybody from this position, and do you see it getting easier anytime soon?
It is tougher. Politics and the divisiveness has changed in my time in the United States Senate. You feel the consequences. It's become one team versus the other. And we generally now are electing people whose goal is to fight, not solve a problem. I don't want to disparage anybody, but there's a lot of contention as compared to any cooperation. How does it change? The American people could demand that of elected officials. But in the shutdown, and you mentioned the Democratic leader, I've never seen the circumstance that I can recall in which the leadership of the Senate, Republican or Democrat, didn't take the lead in solving the problem.
Right.
Different than leaving it up to 8 senators on their own.
From a government shutdown. Right.
That's an unusual, maybe again not seen before, an unusual thing in which the leadership hands off solving this problem of a shutdown to 8 pretty courageous senators.
Some of them aren't Durbin's not running again, right? And Shaheen's not running again. I don't think others are in some pretty... It did take courage. It took much less courage not to do anything for all the others, I think, including Schumer. And he didn't... he can't win for losing in this case. He didn't fold, but by losing the other rate, he's getting blamed anyway.
I don't know whether this is true, but one ought to think that voters will reward people who do their jobs well.
Well, then he shouldn't be. Then he shouldn't be. Or did he do whose job did he do? For the American people or for the progressive wing?
That is where I was headed. Is that we all have our, the things that pull us.
Right.
But there's ought to be things that pull us together. And Veterans Day might be the time to remind people, remind ourselves
Good point, yeah.
about the value of public service. Nobody who was called was drafted or volunteered for service that I know of did so for Republicans or Democrats. They did it for their families, their neighbors, a sense of responsibility, a better world.
Well, you're not in Kansas anymore. You're in Mamdani land, in case you didn't notice, this New York City Center. We got our own things that we're talking about here. Wow. Thank you for being here, though, and bringing that important message to us.
Thank you.
About veterans.
Thanks for writing a good book.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Come